Hi guys, welcome back to Philosophy with Kerry. Today we are going to talk about the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is a part of the North Atlantic Ocean, roughly bounded by Miami, Bermuda and Puerto Rico. The size is not agreed upon, but is roughly based between 500,000 and 440,000 miles of sea. Some accounts include the Gulf of Mexico, Azores and West Indies. The area is said to be in relation to at least 2,000 aircrafts and 75 vessels in the last 500 years. This is all unexplained, although many theories have risen, down to lost ancient technology, blue holes. This generally isn't the case, seen as though blue holes are not strong enough to sink large vessels, let alone aircrafts and ships. Blue holes are holes in the Earth's surface in the ocean that have a whirlpool and waterfall type effect in them due to the gravitational pull. These are often believed to be connected. Blue hole monsters. Now, we don't know what kind of blue hole monsters there are. Blue hole monsters are probably terrifying because creatures we have found in blue holes tend to be quite scary looking. Methane bubbles, rogue waves, the pyramids at the bottom, many other theories, aliens, just a lot. As some of the crafts have come back without people on them, people tend to believe these are aliens coming and stealing the people and leaving their ships. Now let's talk about some of these sightings and actual incidents. So Flight 19, where it all began, we have records of the last mentioned words from the flight leader on Flight 19. A message signal came through from the team leader that said, "We are entering white water and nothing seems right." And then, we don't know where we are. The water is green, no white. Can you imagine going into some kind of water-filled whiteness? That would be terrifying. And then green, like where were you going? See Shrek? Many crafts seem to have technical issues when they cross the Bermuda Triangle scope, like crossing some kind of Mercury retrograde energy central. But we should note that many crafts cross without issue, and a lot of planes and ships tend to have no problem at all when crossing this scope, and they cross often. So nearly every day ships and vessels are crossing the area located with the Bermuda Triangle. I guess they're really fussy aliens. Then we have the USS Cyclops en route to Baltimore from Brazil in 1918. 309 people were lost and there were no findings. The Ellen Austin in 1881. The ship was found but the crew had vanished. The Carol A. Deering. The ship was found but the crew and their tools had vanished on January 31st, 1921. Then the Star Ariel. This was an aircraft. 20 people were lost without a trace. January 17th, 1949. For the Star Ariel, conditions were apparently very well on this day and easily passable. The SS Marine ship also known as the Sulphur Queen. It had 39 crew members on board, as well as a very large amount of molten sulphur. This was on February the 4th, 1963. The only things found on this ship were a few life preservers and shards of debris. Even Columbus himself, in search for the New World, came across a large fiery rock that fell into the ocean situated where the triangle is. He documented this. If this was the case, this could mean that there is a very magnetic rock in the ocean near the Bermuda, considering space rocks are often full of magnetite, which is very magnetic. There was a ginormous city found at the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle. This city is said to resemble Atlantis for its beautiful amounts of pyramids bigger than Giza, and sphinxes, and a lot of other excessive amounts of rich architecture. When this was being cited, the people who documented it kept documenting and publishing it online, but it was actually banned through higher sources. So it's quite hard to find factual evidence of this now, although I'm sure if you went and talked to the people who went and found it, they'd have a lot to say. With the methane bubbles, I honestly think we're just pulling at strings. But there are documents of rogue waves here, one of the tallest recorded 100 feet. The Gulf Stream also passes through the Bermuda Triangle. The Gulf Stream is a warm, clockwise rotating current. Here it has been mapped by Benjamin Franklin in 1786. In 1974, a man named Charles Berlitz published a book on the Bermuda Triangle, named The Bermuda Triangle. In this book, he mentions his theories on how the Bermuda Triangle is in relation to Atlantis. Let's look at Google Earth. Hi everybody, welcome inside my phone. So, I want to show you guys a few things on Google Earth. Now, around here we have the island of Bermuda itself, and not far from it we have the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is said to have the deepest point of the Atlantic Ocean in it, which is named Milwaukee Deep or Depth, and is 27,480 feet deep, or 8,376 meters deep. Now, behind it, we have the Bahamas, and the Bahamas water tends to be a little bit different to most of the water in the outer regions. A lot of explanations have arose for this, but none really that have been cast as factual. Behind it, we have an area which we have found an ancient underwater road called the Bimini Road, which Edgar Casey mentioned we would find before we found it, and he said that that would be the first findings of Atlantis, which is interesting because we at the moment do not know where it goes or why it is there. Now, behind this, we have the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico is a very, very ancient place. It's around 300 million years old. And there's a lot of shipwrecks and things that have been found here, and it is also a natural reservoir for gas and oil. So the deepest parts of the Gulf of Mexico range anywhere from 5,200 and 14,383 feet deep. So very, very deep. And it's home to a lot of sharks. Now, from there, we can also find many other ancient places that were said to be controlled by the gods and in worship of the gods, and just basically the oldest places that we have as we know it. The area from around where Edgar Cayce documented to around the back here was said to be in rulership of the kings of Atlantis. There was 10 brothers, 5 sets of twin males that were said to rule this part. The Atlantic Ocean itself was said to be named in honor of the eldest son, Atlas, so the eldest son of Cleto and Poseidon. We find the cradle of civilization all over here. We have the first ever records of, we know it, of humans in the area called Sumer, which gave birth to the Sumerian people and the Akkadian people and the great historic empires that came with all of that. So the people in here, which were the first people we have document of, that were civilized, lived in little circle houses until they eventually became great farmers and, yeah, had a huge civilization, which I will probably do another video about. So we have here the Black Sea, which has the oldest shipwreck in the world as we know it that has been found. This dates back to over 2,400 years ago, and it is a beautiful ship that you should look up. And then we have so I don't want you to get lost, around the Bermuda, we have from this stretch, which is also a great stretch now for ships that pass every day as well. It's very specific with the Bermuda Triangle, what kind of times and whatever that the mystical happenings happen, but yeah, but it is very, very it has frequent people crossing daily over this stretch, and that has been the way for very, very many years, going right back to times of BC. So over here we have the Pillars of Gibraltar, which, Straits of Gibraltar, which we call, back in the day, in ancient times, they would be called the Pillars of Hercules. And also we have the big culture as well that were the Tyrrhenians in this area, and many other ancient cities that have been found, such as, Troy, and just many others. I'll probably do a video on this whole area, and the whole of Europe really was kind of ruled by these great empires of our past. So we also have the Red Sea. The Red Sea is another formation that we don't really understand why this water that resides in it changes colour every now and then. And then if we go all the way over here, we can find the Richard structure, which is the Eye of Africa, and probably the closest finding that we have to Atlantis, as it resembles it in very many ways. And there's a lot of documentaries about this. A couple that are really, really fascinating, how in detail they get into it. You can also see that there has been a lot of natural disasters happen in these types of areas where tsunamis or something have kind of weathered the land. So very interesting areas around the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is full of unexplained events in history. My personal theory would be either that Columbus was right about the asteroid and that there is a magnetic rock down there which affects these crafts, or that the pyramids that are situated down there, being that most pyramids are full of limestone and granite and such, and tend to act as natural energy conductors, that these could be constituting some kind of energy at the bottom of the ocean in these areas. They absorb the energy from the universe, so they pull this energy in. It wouldn't be that far-fetched to think that maybe they were pulling other types of frequencies to the bottom. Or it could just be a portal. Portals are now a real thing. Portals have been found in outer space now, and are now definitely real, but they call them stargates. So now people of higher importance, as they think, are now looking at our portals of Earth much more seriously. There have been many. I mean, as I said, 2,075 incidents happen in the Bermuda Triangle. But despite popular controversy, it does tend to be the case that many ships and vessels go missing into our beloved ocean. But that is the mystery of it, and why still there are so many occurrences in this general area. Perhaps we will never understand it. Perhaps we will. Only time will tell. As always, thank you guys so much.